Hey guys, in this short video I want to talk about Hey guys, in this video I wanted to talk about the necessary ingredients and what is missing today to really embody your masculinity as a man. This idea basically came from seeing a lot of my clients struggling and asking themselves what is truly masculinity. Indeed, nowadays, masculinity can be viewed from every possible point of view. Most women will tell you that they like masculine men, those that take the lead, that have a purpose, that go where they want to go and do what they want, and basically feel confident, look confident. And on the other hand, it can be also associated with aggressivity and all of those negative traits. And it's really hard for someone to find himself there. We grew up as boys, and it's never really clear what is the step at which we become man, at which we truly can say, well, we're a man. It's kind of one of those things that we decide. Even society nowadays decides that you're an adult when you're 18, even though, like you can really be mature at the age of 13. And on the same frame of thinking, you can also totally be, unindependent and not ready for the adult life at the age of 25, even 30 nowadays. So I think there are two things that we're truly missing in our society right now, and that every single man needs that. Actually, every woman needs that as well. This really pretty much has nothing to do with the gender. Number one, it is mentors, and number two, it is passage rights. Why this is so important? We tend to kind of, especially, if you're watching this video, maybe you are thinking that you are kind of lacking this big brother or someone a little older to show you how to behave in society as a man. What truly is, the behavior that you want to embody and that helps you to find your own style and your own frame of thinking. Basically, someone that would help you to get confident. Confidence is not something we're born with. So as every other skill and every other tool, it feels normal and natural that we should have someone that teaches us that, or at least that we can model to create that. And nowadays it's really hard, because what happens with most of my clients, and this is why I wanted to make this video, they start to blame, especially when they start to learn a couple of those things and they start to get the tools to be better communicators, to be better leaders, they start to blame their parents. And I really don't like that, because indeed, our parents, all of our parents, lived in a different time, in a different place, where all those concepts of what is truly masculine, what is not, were different. The society was different. And their job is not necessarily to show you that. If they do, that's great. But they probably showed you so many other things that would not even fall into there. So we kind of tend to blame our parents for what they don't do. But if we do that, we need to blame them also for all the things they did we didn't expect. And I believe that there is probably thousands of them. So that's not really the missing point. Don't blame your parents. Don't blame your father for, being a little less sensitive than maybe you are, for not necessarily, showing you how to act with women and so on. Like, this is not something you need to blame your parents for. When we used to live, back then, every single tribe didn't live in the parental model that we have right now, where we have basically two parents, if you're lucky, and children around, and that's basically the family, and that's all it is. And then the only thing that is besides that is teachers who are not focused on your personal development necessarily, but they are focused on teaching you the society skills that are supposed to make you a good citizen. And making you a good citizen does not necessarily mean make you happy, make you satisfied, make you confident, and teach you all those things. So teachers should not be blamed for that as well, even though I believe that they have more responsibility in this than parents per se. In every single ancestral tribe, we didn't live just in our hut, in our home with the parents, and we didn't just show up to get advice from some teachers. We lived in communities. We lived in massive groups. We at least lived in groups where we could interact with each other, and there is always a moment when there's some of the older guys who take care and who show the way to the younger ones. And this is really what we're missing. And so nowadays, the only person that you should hold responsible for not having that is yourself. Because the society is designed in such a way that these things don't exist. Mentors do not exist in our society. So either you find one or you don't have it. You can be lucky to have one, but most people don't find it. And it's crazy important, because modeling someone, having someone behind, having someone that is basically able to tell you the truth without having any idea behind it. Like it's very hard to really trust a teacher when he tells you something, because we have such an emotional attachment to it. Parents is the same. There are some truth and some things that need to be heard from someone that we consider as being a model. And so it's your responsibility to find one. The second thing that is important is that in all those ancient tribes, as crazy as it might sound, there were moments in your life where you basically would immerse yourself in a process and come out and be different. And this is what I was telling before with the adulthood. Women have this a little easier, right? Because biology makes it clearly more obvious for them. I mean, at least they can decide. For example, when they have their periods, they basically build a physique of someone that is more of a woman than of a girl, right? And not to say that this is the thing that makes a girl a woman, but most of the time, when women encounter this thing, this challenge, this period, it goes along with a lot of questioning and a lot of self-introspection. It's really scary, and I totally, I really have respect for every single woman out there who went through this period, through the period of the periods, because this is a moment when there is a lot of self-reflection, and a moment where they basically it's a right where throughout their own experience they have to face some fears, they have to learn to behave in a certain way to match that novelty, and there is a before and an after. And this is something that really creates, possible that there is not, but for most women, this is really a time where they start to become more curious about their own body, their own sexuality, and so on and so forth. For men, it's much smoother. We get those things way too fast, and it's really not clear when we're boys and when we're men. Like when you turn 18 or when you get your first car, doesn't necessarily make it for most people. Especially because, again, it doesn't really touch your sexuality per se, or your ability to be a man. So what we're missing are those passage rites. In every ancient tribe, there was a time at a certain stage in the development, whether it was before, like sooner or later, when every boy had to do something crazy. Just go out there and live for a week on his own, or hunt some kind of animal that was known to be a little dangerous, and so on and so forth. And you can think that those things are stupid, but at the end of the day, they really create this moment, this container, this ceremony where you have to face your own fears. You have to face being alone. You have to face what you truly are inside, and if you're able to detach yourself from your parents and so on. So this is something that I focus a lot in my own mentoring program. With every single client, we go back to those things, and we goes back to those really important times in our lives that we might have missed the passage rite that tells us that it's okay. We can get to the next stage. By this I mean your childhood. How can you make peace with your childhood to move on to the next stage and really become someone that is older, that is more of a man? Your sexuality, how to discover that you're cool, you're fine, you're okay being a man and showing your masculine side or feminine side, both. What is the passage that makes you okay, makes you accepted of the fact that you have a lot of feminine inside you? What are those things that make you throughout your entire life? This is something that happens also, many men actually get to this point when they are supposed to become fathers, because that's the event, as I said, where there's a lot of fear, there is a lot of change that happens, and there is a lot of necessity to become really curious about yourself and how you are going to evolve. So you take a lot of responsibility, but obviously if you wait to get a child, you're going to miss all those steps before, and then you'll have conflicts with your childhood, your teenage here's your, how to deal with your ego, how to get at peace with your past, with, all of those things that are basically necessary transitionary phases in our lives. Our society doesn't focus on those transitions, doesn't at all. It's basically you live it and then you have to focus on other stuff. And especially nowadays with all the social media stuff and all the attention that it's constantly grabbed from you, there is no moment when you can immerse yourself and clearly get through a process. This is also why breakups nowadays are so difficult. We go back also with our clients to those breakups, and even though they happened years ago, every single one of my clients still has baggage from there, because the healing and the process, the ceremony hasn't been done properly. I'm not talking about any woo-woo stuff. I'm really talking about some psychological steps that need to happen that I might talk about in a future video. So I hope this has given you some understanding on why it's necessary to find your own mentors and create those opportunities for having passage rights. And those passage rights usually are not those that you decide, they're those that are imposed to you by something else. And having a mentor for that, a mentor that you trust, that you value, that's important. And having a mentor, that doesn't necessarily mean, finding someone that is an elite something in what you're doing. It's basically just someone with whom you resonate, that understands you, that understands your needs to a greater point than you do, and who can foresee your path ahead of you. So I hope this video was helpful. This is more just of a kind of a just conversational video, I would say, and that's important. If you feel like you are lacking a big brother, or someone with whom to immerse yourself in the adulthood and the life of a man, and you feel like you're a little different, you're a little sensitive, you're probably more smarter than the average person, and you feel that you have this creativity, you have all this potential inside, but something is blocking it and you don't know how to unleash it, then I suggest you find a mentor for your own. If you want me to become your mentor, click the link below and apply for a consultation, and we'll see if I can help you.